All right. Hey everyone, welcome to another live stream community Q&A with our CEO Vlad Magdalin.
Hi everyone.
How is everyone? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How
Yeah?
are you?
Oh,
Thanks
I'm
for flying out here.
yeah, I'm always excited to come to the Webflow studio. It's always amazing to just see what the team works on, and especially the education team, how they're always creating something new, something funny, and in a way to help people learn in the most fun way possible. But yeah, before we get into all the details of a year in review of 2019 for Webflow and the Webflow community, where are you guys from? Where are all of you from? Where are you in? So I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and let me also look in the Facebook chat right now. Gonna see if I can keep up with both chat rooms. But where are you all from?
We need like a Webflow world like visualization just to see where community members are popping up. That'd
We
be so
can.
cool.
Can you? You can actually probably you can do that using, I don't know, Webflow, Zapier. Is the Google Maps on Zapier or Integromat or something like that?
I'm sure something like that is possible.
I'm gonna look that up
Yeah.
for next quarter. And when I ask where you all from, we should have a form, and then it just pops up all over on the Google Map. That would be amazing. So we have Pennsylvania, Tampa, Wyoming, San Diego, Austria.
Vienna, wow.
Nice. Oklahoma,
Germany.
India,
Serbia. Des Moines.
Wow.
Wow. Florida,
Spain,
Madrid, Russia. Jeez.
Everywhere.
One day we'll have Antarctica pop up. Somebody in a research station. That'll make my
That'd be amazing.
my quarter.
Making a web app with no code for scientific research in Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be amazing. Germany. Tuning in at 4 a.m. for this. Thomas.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay. Well, I hope you get a good
Oh,
nap.
emergency delivery.
What is this?
We need a Webflow sticker. Just
Oh, there we go.
got a new laptop.
There we go.
Need to make sure that it's properly branded.
There you go.
Thank you,
And-
Keshav.
Bam.
Boom. All right, now I'm ready. Let's
It's legit.
let's go.
All right. So yeah, 2019, a crazy year. So let's go down through some of the updates, some of the major updates that the Webflow team has been working on. Hold on, another emergency.
Whoa.
What is this?
Oh, a stress relief candle. Thank you, McGuire. All right, we're all prepared now.
We're now prepared.
We're well hydrated.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Okay. All right. So, if you haven't been keeping up with all the updates,
We're very serious here, by the way, with everything that we do.
very serious. We take.
All right, sorry, Nelson. Keep going.
It's okay. It's okay. If you haven't seen all the updates or haven't been keeping track, webflow.com/updates. You can see all the updates from the beginning of Webflow, and see what the team has been working on. But for this year, we started with Position Sticky, which I think that was a huge update for a lot of designers who were trying to custom code their way. What is this?
Okay, now we're getting a fire extinguisher for some reason.
Oh, just in case
just
you
for-
light
Oh,
the
for the
candle
candle.
up and then
I
it
get it.
just something happened.
Hashtag safety.
Yes. Yeah, we got to
Yeah.
keep it safe.
Team is very thoughtful.
Thank you, team. And then February, we released Ecommerce. Remove the beta tag and release to everyone. It's amazing. And then we added Apple and Google Pay for Ecommerce. A big one to me was linking to specific pages in the designer. So it helped the community help each other really quickly, rather than go to this page, and that's where where I think this design bug is at. But no, you can link directly to it. And then another big one, CSS Grid 2.0.
Better than 1.0. That's
Yeah?
That's the whole sell.
Oh, okay, so that's how it works.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so okay. But that one.
This is why I'm not in marketing.
Okay. Yeah, the ability to create layouts that are very unique and adding the auto flow option, that one is huge. Huge. Big ups to the team on that one. And then the multi image field. Uh, okay, what are we doing now? No, we're going? Okay. And the education team also created the freelancer's journey. If you haven't gone and seen these beautiful videos that the education team has created to help you with your freelancer journey, please university.webflow.com, check it out. It's a huge huge asset and it's for free. Like the team killed it with that one.
Absolutely. It's an amazing course. If you haven't checked it out, this is you're really missing out. So.
Yeah, and especially for students that are taking a break for this holiday, if you want to watch something that'll help you in your future career, it's free. Freelancer.
Yeah, it's not
journey.
just learning a tool. It's literally how do you make a living as a freelancer, how to negotiate with clients, how to charge for, how to correctly price your work. There's just so much goodness in that course. So,
Yes. Yes.
of course, I would recommend that you check it out.
There it is.
It's downhill from here, folks.
And then we've also added the Lottie integration, and that's just amazing. How to put animations inside of Webflow and connect it with Webflow interactions. PayPal for e-commerce, custom code inside of rich text elements. That was a big ask from the community. And lastly, the removing the shipping requirements for e-commerce, which is our first step into selling digital goods. That's 2019.
Yep, it's a big year.
And then you posted this tweet recently. You said 2019 isn't even over yet. And
By the way, that hasn't been vetted by our legal team, so take that with a grain of salt.
okay. 70 plus new teammates, top 50 YC company, amazing team retreat, 72 million Series A, huge community growth, and of
Thank you,
course,
community,
yes,
for growing.
And the No Code Conference. You ain't seen nothing yet. 2020 will be off the charts. Whew.
I love the response. Somebody responded saying like, "Well, in preparation, shouldn't you get bigger charts or something like that?"
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I guess if we're being prudent.
Yeah, you gotta future-proof it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But then it won't be as impressive because you won't like blow through the charts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Makes sense. Makes sense. But yeah, let's talk about No Code Conference first. How did you feel right after, and then after you've decompressed, like after 2 weeks, looking back on it?
Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, an event of that magnitude, especially our first event, was very nerve-wracking. Trying to organize it within 5 months for such a large event was something that was outside of our comfort zone, and glad we had a really awesome team to drive that. But coming out of it, walking away, just had this huge wave of excitement that people really could identify with a movement, could identify with another group of people that are just like them. You know, builders, creators, entrepreneurs, people who want to make change in the world, not just be happy with the status quo. And like a lot of people from different walks of life that are applying these no-code visual development technologies. It just felt like a place where many like-minded people could come together and dream big about the future. I just felt like, I don't know, it felt like home, like being with our own people and having similar dreams about the future, and a lot of people being excited of what's ahead, sort of overlooking the limitations of today, which are legion. There's a lot of limitations today of even Webflow. You know, there's a lot of things that we can be doing that we're not doing yet, just because of how hard it is to build. But walking away from that, it was just this huge wave of energy that I think sparked the beginning, like a clear stake in the ground that this is a real thing, that this community is massive, and it's only going to grow. It's probably going to be like 10 times bigger a year from now, if all goes well, if not even bigger. I couldn't think of a better sort of landmark event, and I'm super excited about what we're going to do next year because it's an opportunity for us to be an even bigger force in the industry and just show how much progress we can make in a year, just as a community and as a company and as a movement. So to me, this was like a clear highlight of the entire year, bringing the community together. We had people from so many different countries, people flying in, from countries I didn't even know we had users in. Yeah. So that was a wonderful way for the entire ecosystem around Webflow, around other no-code tools to really spend a lot of time together and get excited about what we can build in the future. I can't think of a better event than what we actually pulled off. So yeah, it sets the bar really high for next year.
Oh yeah, it does. And you mentioned it felt like home.
Yeah.
And
because I live there. I live at the venue.
You do? Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So you said it feels like home, and to me it kind of felt like that too, and it was hard to explain because seeing all the community members come from so many different countries, and usually I just talk to them online on the forums, on Facebook, or in Slack, but just seeing everyone's energy in the positive vibe that everyone brought to the conference, it was just so amazing. And people were actually building no-code apps during the conference.
Yeah, and 2 companies launched, I think, on that day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It's happening. Anyways. So, if you're unfamiliar with these quarterly streams, this is when you can ask Vlad almost anything. All right? And he'll answer it. We're going to get through as many questions as possible. And please, when you ask a question, want to let you know now that please don't ask any questions about any feature releases or timelines, because we want to do the best we can for all these features, and we're building the team and building the platform as best we can in a way that helps everyone.
Yeah, there's just a lot of commitments that are easy to make when I'm just talking to a camera or talking to Nelson, but there's a lot of details that prop up that are really important to look into, and it's just hard to make commitments on a stream like this. I know a lot of you are curious when things are going to ship or what the new things are. I'm just as curious. Let's just say that. So I wish we had a much more defined timeline, and I wish software engineering was easier. But it's, especially at the scale that we're operating and the complexity of Webflow, we're just gonna have to rely on when we actually release things into alpha or beta. That's when we have a clear timeline around when things are gonna ship. So.
Yep. All right. Let's get into the questions. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So the actual first question that was sent in, it says, please prioritize this question. I'm an early Webflow angel investor. This is Eric Bond.
I know this is going to be silly, probably.
Thoughts on Baby Yoda?
Oof. One word, awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, all right.
Also, have you seen these stories where, Disney just wasn't ready with all the merch for Christmas because everybody wants to buy Baby Yoda stuff for...
Really?
Yeah, and Disney just hasn't produced anything.
Oh, they didn't think it was going to be a...
Exactly. They didn't think that, this cute little thing was going to be a thing.
Oh.
But it is, and Baby Yoda's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's our new mascot. I'd like to announce officially now that Webflow is adopting Baby Yoda. We have not checked in with the licensing folks, but Baby Yoda is now officially Webflow representative.
Hey, we're going green though, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Ha,
yes!
Literally. Literally going green. Okay. That joke is, yeah.
All right.
Way to force that one into the conversation.
Okay, I like that one. Yeah. All right, from Fry. What uses for Webflow have surprised or delighted you the most this year?
There's so many. I just recently remember seeing a scholarship program to match students to scholarships that was built with Webflow and Zapier and MemberStack, where this is like the promise of visual development, where you have somebody that is not an engineer, who's able to create something really valuable and get it out into the market, have it actually work, and that's the beauty of creating software that solves a real problem. And there have been a lot of examples like that over the last year where you're kind of surprised because Webflow is primarily originally created to build these like marketing websites, and seeing it go far beyond that. We had something launch on Product Hunt that was the number one product on Product Hunt maybe 3 weeks ago around like color palettes. Then it was number one on Hacker News, and all it was is a way to present new kind of creative color palettes to the developer and designer community. And that's a product that wouldn't exist if visual development tools weren't a thing. So to me, those are the seeing those products really pop up on the radar of the entire internet is really magical, because that proves the potential of this kind of technology.
Shout out to Mackenzie Child for creating that. Congrats on that number one on Product Hunt. All right, next one. And again, if you have a question, our mods are posting the link to the type form. Go ahead and submit your question there. All right, so next one.
And thank you, mods, for helping.
Yes, thank you, mods. From Emmett, asking, what do you look for in an ideal candidate for a job at Webflow? I'm guessing at Webflow.
Yeah, that's a really hard question to answer because it's just very role specific. We don't have clear things like, oh, you have to be passionate about Webflow, because a lot of times that that's something that can be developed, etc. And we don't look for quote unquote culture fit, where people have to fit in exactly with the way that our team operates. The biggest thing we look for is we have these what we call core behaviors. These are ways that we act, not just things that we believe, things that we value, but ways that we act. And they're things like practice extraordinary kindness, be radically candid, lead by serving others, dream big, etc. And that's the biggest thing for us to align on when people join the team, because it just sort of sets the foundation for how we behave with each other, how we keep each other accountable, how we are honest about our intentions and our motivations, and how we support our teams or the people that are on your teams, and really how we innovate, think outside the box and implement things that are not incremental, but like really big swings at our vision. So it's hard to like really quantify that, but we have quite a bit of conversations before somebody joins to make sure that we're aligned on those things. And of course, like I think what we really look for is ambition, where it's not just well, I just want to perform a certain task over and over. It's I want to prove myself and add value and have a ton of impact, and really take this drive the company and our vision forward, versus a kind of more passive approach. So that's always great to see when people want to take more ownership, have more impact, and take on more responsibility. And you can kind of see that in people's track records a lot too.
Yeah, especially on their resumes or portfolios. But if you're interested in joining the team, jobs.webflow.com. You can see the positions that are open. Apply. Okay, so going to Justin. This is a very important one. Why wasn't Webflow named Vladflow?
It actually is. We're just doing business as Webflow. It's Vladflow LLC, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad you got that one.
Yeah, and we're incorporated in Bermuda, just for tax reasons. Just kidding. All that's a lie.
Okay. He also asked.
I love all these serious questions. Baby Yoda and Vladflow.
Okay, here's a silly question then. What's your favorite moment of 2019? And I think you've already answered this, kinda. But
I'd say definitely no code conf.
Yeah.
Just the huge emotional high that was, both personally and professionally as a company. Like it's, I think I'd be hard pressed to find a moment that was more impactful.
Yes, yes. And again, if you haven't seen,
Oh, actually, no, I'll take that back. We had so that was a close second.
Oh.
My favorite actual moment was at our team retreat when on the last day, I woke up to over 100 personal notes on this table from everybody on the team. Like, honestly, I just broke down and, like, I couldn't handle it. I couldn't keep reading past a few. I had to, like, I mean, I'm tearing up just now thinking about it. That was magical. Like, to have that kind of recognition from the team was really really special.
Well, because you hand wrote thank you notes to everyone in the team.
That's what people think. I automated a no-code solution. Just kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you had one of those robots with a pen and actually...
Right, exactly. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but you hand wrote a thank you note to each team member. And at that, how many people came to the retreat? Around 100.
110 or something like that.
110 thank you notes that was left in each...
Also mailed one to all the people who didn't come.
Yeah.
But
like,
anyway.
to do that, you know, in this day and age of digital, you could have easily, you know, sent everyone a Slack message. You could have easily just used an emailing tool and said, okay, here you go. Just include hello and then name field and then, you know. But no, you...
Hello, F name.
Like, exactly.
Yeah. But no, it's really important to me to recognize every team member on the team. Because I think this team is truly special in what we're doing together. And people have put in a lot of time and effort and just blood, sweat, and tears sometimes to make this product and this community what it is. So didn't want that to go unrecognized. Yeah,
it was a beautiful moment. I mean, I remember taking a picture of my thank you note, like, and sending it to my wife saying, oh my God, this is amazing, you know? Like, who does this? So, I mean, you are leading by example, and that's why we all had to give you a thank you back. And so, yeah, the love around Webflow is real, you know? I mean, the love for the community and for the platform and for your leadership. So we thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Chris, next question. Chris, what is the biggest challenge you face as an entrepreneur, and how did you proceed?
What is the biggest challenge I face now or faced in the past?
It sounds past tense.
You faced. I mean, definitely the biggest challenge was the first year of Webflow where, you know, kind of planned on bootstrapping and using personal savings. We were planning on doing a Kickstarter and financing it that way. What was supposed to be 3 months without income turned into close to 12 months without income. And, you know, with kids and the family to support, that's really, really tough. So that was you know, I did things that I would not recommend now. It's sort of like survivorship bias, you know, taking out credit cards and borrowing money and selling cars and like pulling out money from 401k with penalties and all that stuff. Like I would never recommend it as a prudent financial decision. So that was really hard. But I think believing in the ultimate success of Webflow, maybe there's a lot of blind faith and optimism, but I think that helped me through that. But it definitely was a huge challenge. Like that's, you know, it was a time when we were sort of walking around the building planning how we were going to go back to our jobs and try to moonlight on Webflow or like shut the whole thing down. So I remember that being really, really, really stressful. Like I would wake up with panic attacks and all kinds of stuff that you know was not healthy. But thankfully we worked through that. I don't know if how do you proceed from that? It was just thankful to have the support of my family, my wife, my kids, my co-founders, everyone around Webflow that was advising us, that, you know, gave us confidence to hang in there. But we are where we are now because of that. So
Yeah, every time I hear that story, it's still just amazing to me. You know, like how much risk you and your family took for this idea,
Mm-hmm.
and it has changed so
It
many
seemed like a
lives.
good idea at the time. Yeah.
Well, it kind of is, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing the amount of lives. Not only did it change the life of you and your family, but many families all around this world and into the future. So yeah, that's
No, it feels like a privilege to be able to create something like that, for sure.
yeah. All right, Katie. Katie from NYU is asking. She says, "My intermediate web design comp principles class just finished up exams. Congrats. There are usually 200 of us in lecture, and I just wanted you to know. I think we watched every single Webflow University video in this class this semester.
Ooh, nice.
Good job. My question is, what can you tell us about Greamer with the coffee, and can we please know more about him?"
Greamer's a mystery. All we know is that he's from Iceland and he's really clumsy with coffee, and we're trying to track down all the spills around the office. Somehow they all get recorded. But that is all I am able to share at this time.
Really?
We want to maintain an air of mystery.
Well, it is mysterious how he
Keep
can...
watching for more info on Greamer. Tune in next time.
Well, it's just amazing how he can bend space and time, and he still won't tell us how.
That's once you have a sort of the secret, once you know the secret sauce, or your trade secret, it loses its value if you share it too quickly.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, you'll learn more in future videos. Yes. All right, next one, Neil. I have built my business around Webflow, which I am forever grateful. What assurance can you give us that you won't sell out and will continue to build on what has already been created? I need peace of mind.
I feel like I've addressed this like maybe 20 different times now.
Yeah.
It seems to resurface every quarter. There's a lot of these messages that I've posted in our forum publicly, when questions like this came up, and over the last many years in Q&As like this. Our intention is to, now that we're operating as an independent company, to keep building Webflow into our vision of what visual software development could be, which will be a decades-long journey. Like, it's not something that we'll be happy with 1 year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now. And selling to a bigger company, in our opinion, only undermines that vision. Maybe because of the track record of other companies, buying smaller companies before, especially Adobe with Dreamweaver and things like that, where it just would feel like a fundamental shortcoming of like what we can ultimately effect in the world, or the change that we can make in the world, or the dent that we can make in the universe. So for us, that's what we're singularly focused on, is making sure that that Webflow is a foundational company that lasts decades, if not centuries. And that's one of the reasons why we partnered with Excel, to give us a ton of runway, to make sure that not only can we grow thoughtfully into an independent company, but also are able to invest now into things that will pay dividends in the long term, like no-code conf. So for us, this is the thing that gives me energy, that gets me up in the morning. Like, thankfully, we're set up as a company where we're generating revenue. We have the ability to think of Webflow as a solid business that is sustainable, but also has the resources to invest in strategic bets. So there's really no reason for us to consider selling out. And right now we're all having a ton of fun, and my entire goal as a CEO and as a leader is to make sure that remains to be the case for decades to come. So no intention to do anything outside of that. And we know how important this is to our community, because the entire company was built on this level of trust that Webflow is not going to go away overnight. Like you don't build your entire web presence or an entire product or entire service on a tool that might disappear the next day or 3 months later or whatever after some brief announcement. So for us, that is like vitally important to have that level of trust in our community and our community to have it in us. And we just have we never talk about this stuff, like selling or considering. We've always said no to those kinds of conversations because it's just a giant distraction. And if we already know that we're not heading that direction, like why even waste the time?
Yeah, So hopefully that gives you a peace of mind. Webflow.
And thank you for building your business on Webflow.
Yes.
We treat that as a really huge responsibility.
Yeah. All right, Rubio, I know this is a feature question, but I mean, we can answer it right now, which is, does Webflow natively support selling digital goods worldwide?
Yes and no. So there are some, we kind of have to face the limitations of our payment providers. We support areas that Stripe and PayPal support currently. There's some nuance there, so it's pretty country specific. So worldwide is a pretty big kind of broad stroke question. So I would encourage you to look into or email our support team to find out about countries that are specific.
Yeah, and removing the requirement to ship a product on Webflow Ecommerce is one of those steps we've already taken.
Right, but that still requires there are countries which where PayPal or Stripe will not take a payment, which makes it tougher.
Oh, makes sense. Okay. All right, Glenn. Actually, no. Jacob is asking. I'd love to get some insight into the future of Webflow and no code. Are we moving into web app creation and not just website creation?
TLDR, yes. We're already seeing that in our community, like the scholarship example that I just mentioned is already a web app. It's only partially implemented in Webflow and you have to sort of add on some things on top of that. But one of the things that we alluded to at NoCodeConf is that websites are no longer, or web presences are no longer such a clear-cut thing between, okay, it's just static content, maybe a blog. They're moving into a much more nuanced type of applications where you might have user accounts, you might have multiple languages, you might have like a bunch of custom logic that has different workflows depending on what users do. So it's absolutely our intention to move in that direction. We'll be sharing a lot more details about that and hopefully at the next event that we do, there's a lot more details around what we're actually building, but that's the general journey of us as a company, and that's the original vision behind the company. That wasn't just a website builder. It was more like, how do we create a fundamentally different way, more accessible way that is accessible to 100 times as many people to create the kinds of products and services that define this broader category of software than just landing pages or websites.
Yeah. And what I learned from the No Code conference,
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Me too.
Awesome. So, one company that I got to meet the team from, Adalo, and they were one of the people who were like, "Hey Nelson, we made a No Code Conf app in like an hour or two," and it's like, it's an app. Right. It's a real functioning app that they made with no code, and I'm like, that's the no code movement right there. And I asked them, can you connect that data with like a Webflow collection? Yes, you can. And I was like, I gotta get into this.
Yeah.
And that whole feeling.
I think they're one of the companies that launched or relaunched No Code Conf.
Oh,
they were on Product Hunt that same day.
Nice. Yeah. So just that joy of discovery of like putting things together like Lego, like this brick can connect with this, and it actually transfers data in between, like that. Oh, so amazing. Anyways, next one. Glenn, so awesome. Since the awesome No Code conference event, thanks again for creating it. The No Code community seems to be on fire on Twitter, at least. But have you noticed a big shift in any way from where you're sitting? So I'm getting where you're sitting right now.
I'm just looking around. By the way, 100% Russian bots. What you're seeing on Twitter, it's all orchestrated.
No.
But actually, to be perfectly candid, we are seeing a major shift in how people are even talking about no code or visual development. When we started 7 years ago, we only heard either silence or skepticism around, this is never going to work, Dreamweaver failed, or all these other tools failed, and this is just for toy things, and nobody's going to take this seriously, etc. And partly they were correct in that the product wasn't powerful enough to prove that it can be a replacement for code in many cases. Whereas over the last 6-7 years, we've definitely proven that to be not the case. And thanks to the help of our community, building awesome things using Webflow and getting it out there, and some of the ones that I mentioned. So there's definitely something happening with it's some sort of inflection where this is becoming more of a thing where investors are noticing, other companies, big companies, are noticing. People are starting to write about it in analyst statements. There's even developers are starting to have conversations about what no code means and what the implications are. And I'm happy that the way that the conversation has evolved is not like this adversarial, coders versus non-coders or whatever. There's a rising tide lifts all boats kind of mentality, where creating more no-code based software will actually increase the demand for developers, because there will inevitably be things, customizations that no-code and visual sort of abstraction tools haven't implemented yet, and you always need more developers. And there's already such a big shortage of developers that there's not this fear that no-code tools are going to replace developers. In the same way that spreadsheets didn't replace developers, even though there's now 1 billion people using spreadsheets to solve problems that in some way developers used to solve before in the land of mainframes, etc. So it's definitely, it seems like it's a thing now. It used to be that one mention of Webflow per day made me really happy. Oh, somebody's talking about Webflow. Now it's just a flood. I'm doing this with Webflow, and this is I've just introduced this to my team, or I've created an entire product and launched it from scratch using Webflow, and no code in general. That space has been really heating up. So we definitely see it from here. It's a big definite shift. But it's something that we have to embrace and capitalize on, and not let that sort of energy die, because it's very easy for that enthusiasm and that passion to sort of fade away over time.
I noticed it too when Ben of MakerPad started No-Code Vember, and it was make a no-code app or a website once a day or something like that, something to help train you on, and so many people got into that, and I was this is amazing. People are not only using Webflow, but other tools, other no-code tools out there, just to see what they can do and take a journey into the no-code space. So it's just amazing that it's the thing now. All right.
But I honestly believe it's just the beginning. It's sort of the early or the late 90s when it comes to the web. A lot of people started seeing the promise. But it was still relatively unexplored space. So the next 10 years, I think, are going to see explosive growth in not only the tool development in the space, kind of the capabilities of Webflow and other tools and other platforms, but also what people are building with it. I think that's going to be, it's hard to predict what kind of things will emerge from that, because it's even today, to the question of what surprises me, what surprises us, is that a lot of things that are created we never planned for. It's not like we built Webflow to enable people to build these things. It's almost like creating, Procreate or Photoshop or something like that. Maya. That once you create the tool, it gives a lot more capabilities and possibilities to people, and then their imagination goes to town, and the things that they create with that are just unfathomable to the original people who created the platform or the tool. So, and that's really exciting, because as a company and as a team, we get to see a lot of those things. We have a channel at Webflow called In the Wild, discoveries of things that people have built in the wild, and it's a constant stream now of tens of days sometimes of awesome things that were built with Webflow that, even a couple years ago, we would get maybe one or two a week.
Yeah.
And it's starting to like really snowball.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing. All right. I'm not sure if I'm going to say this first name right. Sakai is asking, how are you being led by research and a macro and product perspective? What have you learned from your users that profoundly changed the company or product?
I mean, research is something that we're honestly probably just now starting to explore. Talking to a lot more customers. Earlier on, it was more of a clearer understanding of what we needed to build. And especially now that Webflow has moved far beyond just freelancers or small agencies building things for clients, now we're working with like very large companies and startups that are, scaling their entire web presence, marketing teams, brand designers, there's like animators. There's so many different personas now, or so many different types of people that use Webflow. We're no longer in an area where like the founders, Sergi and I used to like run an agency, working for clients, making web design projects. It was a more obvious like what kinds of things that we needed, and that we wanted to build. Now it's both harder in that there's many, many more points of view to consider, and depending on who you talk to, you can prioritize different things. But we are trying to get better at that, like actually internalizing a practice, like a UX research practice, but also having a lot more of our PMs and our marketing team to have a lot more conversations with customers and do a lot more discovery. I think it's still pretty early to tell like what the exact impact of that is. We still have to have a pretty strong perspective on like the vision of the company and what things we would prioritize that incrementally would be unlikely to emerge from research or from like light exploratory research. Things like kind of the way that we approached our visual CMS. The things we were hearing from customer conversations was more around, I need an exact kind of WordPress plugin to pull a design into WordPress or something like that, and that's valuable. But ultimately, the thing that we developed was a lot more intuitive for a lot more people because we had a perspective around like kind of the vision of what we wanted to build. So it's a balance. We're trying to get a lot more data and be a lot more data informed when it comes to making these big decisions, especially now that we have a lot more avenues that we can go in.
Yeah. All right. Fernando is asking, how do you see the future of e-commerce and Webflow? And do you see it as a place where developers will be able to create apps like Shopify, or most of the features will be built in internally by Webflow?
E-commerce is one of our biggest pillars.
Yeah.
We don't see Webflow as like an e-commerce company per se, but it's one of those things that is a fundamental building block of apps, right? Like e-commerce is something that will set us up. Now that we're going from physical products to digital goods, eventually it'll be, you'll be able to do things like build a membership site that gates content based on which transaction you've had in the past, like which plan you bought, etc. Even SaaS products, etc. So like that, those core pillars of e-commerce, selling physical goods is just one manifestation of that. But we're working on it through that lens of how do we create the core foundations that will allow many more different types of apps to be created that rely on some aspect of making a payment or processing a transaction or having a subscription, etc. And we definitely see it as there's just no way that we as a team, whether it comes to commerce or the rest of our platform, will be able to build all the functionality that everybody needs. And a huge effort, I know we've talked about it for a couple of quarters now, or more even, is around the efforts we're making internally around creating a plugin ecosystem for Webflow. And that includes e-commerce, that includes elements that you would add on the screen, that includes extensions to the product itself in the UI. And there's a lot of different extension points that we're thinking about in the CMS and external data sources and so many different aspects that it's absolutely crucial for us to make that available to third-party developers so that like the thousands, if not tens of thousands of use cases that we're just not going to have time or even know enough to be able to solve that core problem. We want to make it possible for third parties to extend and make that extension available to other people, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and a couple of companies are already doing kind of that. Like obviously MemberStack found out a way, and Udesly has created multiple things to connect with Webflow, and it's I feel like that's just the beginning. Yeah,
it is. Yep. That's
yeah.
A lot of that stuff has been sort of like unofficial around the edges, and once
Yeah.
we have an official API, that'll be a lot easier and a lot more straightforward around how to correctly extend Webflow.
Oh, I can't wait for that. All right.
Oh, look at that! Our community has called for more water, and
Oh,
our
thank
team.
you.
Wow.
Well, okay. Okay. There you
all
go.
right,
Do you need any more?
I got 3 waters, and one of these.
All right. Thank you, Javi, for sending that in. Yeah. All right. And thank you, education team.
Now we have too much water.
All right. Here we go. Okay, so those were the ones that were sent in before. Now that we got a bunch that were sent in. Here, let's go with this one. From Ian. Can Vlad please speak with a Russian accent?
Absolutely not. I do not enjoy this
Okay.
kind of speaking.
All right. Sorry, Ian.
I sound too much like my dad when I do that.
All right. Yeah. If you wanna, I guess this is like lightning round. Oh yeah, 10 minutes left. So if you wanna look through some of them on yours.
Oh yeah.
Because I haven't marked them. They just came in. And again, we aren't answering questions that are feature related. Vlad already explained why. Let's see here.
I mean, we can answer feature related things, just maybe not timeline, or any sort of commitments. So let's see.
Here we go.
What's a good one that you think I should answer?
Okay. Can you talk about how a feature release makes its way from the wish list to release?
Oh, there's so many steps there, and depends on the product team. It depends on the complexity. Right now, a lot of our features have to consider not just the feature set, but also the extensibility of the feature. Like, how will developers in the future expand on that feature? What are like those integration points, etc. So there's a whole range of answers, from sort of like initial kind of problem discovery to the team, the product team actually like defining something closer to what the scope is going to be. But then some teams, follow different processes depending on what they're actually working on. So it kind of is a different process for different teams.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. No, that's a feature one. It's hard to find. Biggest obstacle of 2019, and what are you most excited about for 2020?
I think the hardest thing at a meta level is trying to deal with different points of scale as a company goes from 50 people to 100 people to 150 people, then to 200 people, etc. It's like the things that used to work 20 or 30 people ago is no longer scalable. So that has been probably the biggest challenge of how do we kind of as a team dream big about a similar direction and work on the same goals, and have that still feel like we all have a common sense of purpose and have a lot of autonomy and ownership over the things that we're delivering. And I think that's sort of the theme of 2019 for me, is trying to figure out how to motivate and rally the team around common goals. And this is the first year that we really got super defined on a 3-year vision, which I'm really excited about. And we'll find out more about that at the next conference. Yeah, it's a sort of a challenge and a opportunity in itself, because like if we get to solve that correctly, even at the current stage. It just means that we can do a lot more together. We can have a much bigger impact because the kinds of things that we're doing, it's, we're going to need a bigger team.
Yeah, but it's a great problem to have.
Yep.
All right. From Eric, how would you want to showcase the Webflow product within a virtual hackathon experience for no-code platforms?
Wait, repeat that?
Yeah, how would you want to showcase?
Oh, I see. How would you want to showcase the Webflow product within a virtual hackathon experience for no-code platforms? We've been talking a lot more about hackathons now that Webflow is a lot more powerful. I think it's something that our community team is exploring pretty heavily.
Okay.
But I think the hard part there is getting people together, and getting people to show up at the same time, etc.
How about this one from Marco? Hey Vlad, thank you for giving us Webflow. Yes, thank you. How was your first round series, and how was the MVP at that time?
When we raised our first seed round, we already had we had more than an MVP. So this was August 2013, September 2013. We had launched our product and had some paying users, and it was growing pretty significantly. And that was kind of like what was required at the time to have get funding with that kind of traction. And I think the bar is even higher now because it's even easier to build companies because the layers of abstraction are, we even had to build our own website in code when we launched Webflow, right? Webflow wasn't powerful enough to do that, so we needed to get our engineers, mainly me and Bryant, to work on our website. Now it's easier to get some of these things out there, so you can focus more on the product. So the expectations are higher for what you can deliver, or what you need to have in order to attract investment, etc.
Okay, all right. Someone named Natalia is asking, what are you getting your wife for Christmas?
Hi, honey. That is ask Baby Yoda. I was going to get a Baby Yoda, but they're not for sale, which is why I was venting about that earlier.
Okay. All right. Spoiler alert.
You just made my day.
All right. How did that happen?
Wow. We just had like an earthquake here or something.
Really?
I don't know.
We're fine, everyone. We're fine. And we're fine. We're fine. That was interesting.
Wow, we're being attacked by
Baby Yoda.
Exactly.
He used the Force.
Yes, do not mention Baby Yoda in a negative light.
Sorry, Disney. We're sorry. It just fell on its own. I have no idea.
We'll figure it out, folks.
Yeah. Sorry for people wearing headphones. That was interesting. All right.
There's a question here. Do you have any 2020 plans to spread more knowledge about Webflow in Latin America and non-English speaking countries? So we need your help with that, because the way that communities develop is when there's like a champion in a local area that really helps our team kind of get some boots on the ground and start to establish more of a presence. 2020 is going to be pretty big for our community development, but it really helps us when there's already a lot of kind of established sort of like a nucleus of folks and startups that's already getting off the ground. So we don't have specific plans for Latin America, but we have sort of more broad plans over 2020 to establish community in many different areas. I think initially it's going to be primarily English speaking in terms of like the resources that we provide, but it's something that we're always exploring. At which point does it make sense to invest more into localization and internationalization? I think that usually comes after we learn more around how communities are developed, et cetera, just because right now we're pretty much at the early stages of expanding internationally.
Yeah. And again, with your help, you can help spread the word by creating tutorials in your language, in your native language. And so if you're a Latin speaker, or if you're in another country and there's there's a community growing for no coders, please make that knowledge accessible to them. Record YouTube videos, and just build your own community. And if you want to create your own meetup, let us know. We can help support you in that. All right. Let's see what else.
I see a lot of questions about nested collections and sort of implying like how can it be so hard, etc. It's one of those things that seems easy until you really dive into all the implications, because even one nested collection on a page being rendered can slow down performance by like a factor of 10x just because of the way that data needs to be fetched, etc. So that's one of those things I'm personally excited around, like when we'll be able to make that work. But it's also even as one of the core developers of Webflow early on, it's surprising how simple things can explode in complexity when you actually go to implement them, especially in a way that's backwards compatible, that is visual development first, etc. So
yeah, I mean, again, and I think I've said this many times before, if something's easy to use, then it was hard to build. If something's hard to use, then it was easy to build. So we're taking the hard route.
Oh, I saw a question. Where do you get a jacket like the one that you have, Ambassador 2019?
So, for the meetup organizers who have been very active in growing their communities, we're sending them these jackets as a way of thank you for creating the community. So if you want to learn more about getting into the ambassador program and create your own meetup and grow that community, especially in your own, in many different countries outside of the United States, please go to, I think, search Google for like how to start a Webflow meetup. I posted a blog post, gives you all the details. So yes, please join our ambassador program and we'll get these out to you.
Also a serious question from Javi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Referring to your dad jokes, you're a pretty young dad. Aren't these dad jokes only for older dads? Absolutely not. Dad jokes are inclusive of all ages, even non-dads. So even non-dads have permission to do dad jokes. They just make the world a better place.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And the punchlines are always apparent. Yeah.
How did I not see that one coming?
I guess you haven't been a dad long enough.
Yeah, I haven't. Okay. And I was just amazed by the dad jokes that you've added into your keynote at No Code Conference.
Oh, I should have added more. I think that was pretty lame.
No, those were good.
Okay.
And when you said those, I was like, oh my God, these are amazing. If you want to see those jokes, it's on youtube.com/webflow. Vlad's keynote is there. Check it out. Yeah, it's amazing. Let's see here. No. This is. I
see a question about adding support for tablets such as the iPad Pro. I'm personally curious if we can make that work. So I'm gonna ask around.
Yeah, I mean, I tried Webflow here, and it's you just can't drag. That's the only thing that's missing. You can't drag, and because you can't drag around in Webflow Designer.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah. I mean, for a drag and drop tool.
Yeah, drag and drop.
It's just the and that works. It's just and.
Yeah.
You can't drag or drop.
Yeah, so the panels you can't scroll up and down on.
Right.
And so, yeah, but it's almost there. Yeah.
Need to look into it.
That'd be nice. Whoa. It's 11:02. Guess anything else? Anything else you guys want to see? Let me look in the Facebook chat, see if anyone's... Nope, people just saying hello. Norm saying hi, Nelson and Vlad, hello. Julian is saying, my iPad Pro on the new Pad OS works well, except for drag and drop. Yep, exactly.
Anyway, we'll look into that.
Yeah. Tuber wants to know what happened. Can we see the mess? It's not really a mess, just a bar fell. I think that's about it. Yeah. So, for all the questions that we didn't answer, sorry we didn't get time for it, or if they were feature related, again, We're working on it. Whatever you're asking for, we're working on it in some capacity. Uh, yeah, 2019. We're done with it. Well, almost.
Yeah.
One
almost.
week, 1 more week.
2 weeks left.
2 weeks left. Amazing. And to me, 2019 was a huge change in the peak of it was when the No Code Conf video trailer started to play right before your keynote, and I couldn't stop jumping up and down because I was like, it's happening. It's here. Everything that I've been trying to tell all my friends, my family, my coworkers that this is going to be a thing since 2013 is finally here, and it's just amazing what you have done for the community.
I mean, this is sure, maybe I had the original idea, but like all of this stuff is happening because of this community, because of this awesome team pulling together and doing the really important work. All I had to do was show up. So it was just as magical to me as it was to you of like getting this feeling of like, holy cow, this community is really coming together. This is an actual movement. This is real. Like, people are paying attention. People are excited. And mostly it's just awe-inspiring how much potential there still is. Like, the fact that this is the ground floor, the fact that we're just now starting to build this category, to create this new way of building software, it just means the sky's the limit, which, I don't know, I've never been more excited. I think I say this every time.
Yeah.
But it's honestly true. Like, I've never seen more possibility for Webflow and for this space in general than I do right now. And it feels kind of like counterintuitive because we theoretically should be building all these things that sort of like chip away at the possibilities and sort of get more to 100% feature complete. But it really feels like every step we make forward, we see so much more potential.
Yeah.
And it expands our horizon, it expands our possibilities. So to me, it's very exciting to have the privilege and the opportunity to have that kind of impact, and build for this community, build for empower other people to build for the internet, help other people make a living. Honestly, that's such a fulfilling type of purpose, to be able to provide that to folks who otherwise would have to do like a different career or different work for somebody else, or not start a company or whatever that may be. So at the risk of repeating myself too much, this is just the beginning. And I think next year we're going to be saying something similar of like, wow, 2020 was a landmark year for Webflow and for this movement and for this community, and it's just the beginning. So, and I hope that continues, and I know all of you are a big part of that. So I hope you're as excited as I am to step into the future.
Yep.
And get a nice break over the holidays and all that jazz, and come back refreshed and ready to take on the world.
For 2020. Oh, it's going to be good. And I think I speak for the community by saying thank you to the executive team, the marketing team, the education team, the brand design team, engineers, and customer support, and all the other teams that I've probably missed. But like, it's just amazing what all
the
of
fire hydrant team, you know.
Yes, the fire
water
hydrant,
team,
the water team, the candle team,
the tiny mug team.
Like
taking shots of water.
You sure?
Water.
But it's thank you for showing up every day and showing what is possible now for the whole community. So, community, let's come back again next year, next quarter, and keep building great things. That's it. This has been fun.
Thank you all. Thank you for a great year.
I muted myself. I'm gonna have to do it again. Sound dead. Thank you guys. All right, let's end this stream on a higher note. If you have any account, billing, or technical questions, go to university.webflow.com/support, and the customer support team will help you out as fast as they can. If you have any design or custom code questions, please join the community over at forum.webflow.com, or find us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page and a Facebook group. The community members out there are super duper helpful, super positive, so post your question there. And do me a favor, if your question gets answered, please pass that favor forward and answer someone else's question so we can all grow together. Go ahead and sign up for the events page, events mailing list over at webflow.com/events, so you'll know when there's a meetup or a big event happening in your area. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all at Webflow.
MySpace.
Really? Probably someone could make that now. Can make a replacement.
Just joking. It still exists.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to make GeoCities. Yeah. Bring it back. Thank you all so much for your questions and for being a part of this great community. We can't wait to see you in 2020. Huh, there's a dad joke somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I don't see it.
Thank you all so much. And as always, make the web beautiful together. See ya.
Bye, everyone. Good job.